Okay, this is Mia Rosenthal for the Tyler Visual Studies Digital Imaging class, and I'm just going to do a quick review of things we've done in class that you should all know how to do at this point. It's going to include a little bit of troubleshooting. So, we're going to start off with Shape Tool. Click and drag to draw, single click of the mouse to enter width and height. So if I'm doing an inch, that would be 72 points by 72 points. And now you can see here that I am in points as my unit. If I want to change that, I can go under Illustrator Preferences, and I'm going to go under Units, and under General, I'm going to make sure that I'm in inches. And then if I'm drawing another rectangle, you'll see it's another square, it's in inches. Okay, to move a whole object, I'm using my selection tool. That's the black arrow. That moves whole objects. If I just want to move points, I use my direct selection tool. That's the white arrow. And I click on a point and move it. Now if an object is already selected, and I go to the direct selection tool to try to move a point, I'm going to start moving the whole object around, and you can see that's because all the points are already selected, so I need to click off and click back on to move individual points around. There we go. Okay, if I'm drawing a shape from scratch and using my pen tool, I can click to make angles, or I can click and drag to make curved shapes. And you can see when I'm going to close a path that my arrow gets a little circle. I'm sorry, my pen tool gets a little circle next to it. That means I'm about to close the path. Now I can always go back with my convert anchor point tool, the anchor point conversion tool, and I can change how my curves are moving. Each point has a handle on it. You can move, once you've converted the anchor point, you can also move your individual, your handles individually. Just as a reminder, when you're making curves, don't add too many points. Your best bet is to have, if I'm drawing an arc like this, it's going to look a lot smoother if I just have my start and end points and then one point in between versus, 6 points, and then I'm trying to make a, trying to make a smooth shape with a lot of points. It just becomes much more difficult. Now, if I'm making, I'll delete that. If I'm making an open path when I'm done drawing it, if I want to, start a new shape, I can either go to the, go to another tool and then click back on the pen tool, or I can just hit P on the keyboard when I'm done. P's for the pen tool, and it will automatically let you start a new shape. Now, if I'm looking at the ends of these shapes here and they have the blunt end, I can change that on my stroke panel. I would change my cap. Right now it's on the default, which is the butt cap. I could change it to a rounded cap. I can also change my weight from there, my stroke weight. Now that's in your stroke panel, which you can turn on and off. If you ever look at it and it looks like this without the other options, you just need to make sure to go under Show Options on the right hand side. Now let's say I have pretty heavy weight on here, and let's say I'm then scale them down, and you can see that they're all sort of mushing into each other, that my stroke is not scaling. You can change that under Preferences again. Under General, you need to make sure that this Scale Strokes and Effects is on. if you want to do that. The default is to have it off. So that's something to keep in mind. Stroke and fill. I can change those in my swatches panel. In this case, I probably want to change my stroke to none, my fill to none, since these are open paths. Okay, let's talk about layers very quickly. We went over placing an image. I can go under File, Place, and select an image. To import, to scale it down, I can just go to the corner, hold down the Shift key to constrain proportions, and scale it down so that it fits on my artboard. Now let's say I'm going to be tracing over this image or doing something else. I want it to be on a separate layer. To get it on a separate layer, I'm going to cut my image, which is Edit Cut, Command X, and I'm going to put it on a new layer. To make a new layer, on the bottom of my Layers panel, I'm selecting Create New Layer, and I'm pasting it on. That's Command V or Edit Paste. And now I want to move this layer underneath my layer 1 so that the layer where I have my drawing is underneath my my guide layer. So I can just click on it and drag it under layer 1. Now I'm just going to undo that, which is Command Z or Edit Undo. And it's you can see how when I'm dragging it, there becomes like a line, this white line under layer 1. It's very easy to accidentally, you see how now where the whole layer 1 is highlighted? If I click and drag on that, you'll notice that my layer 2 is now inside of my layer 1. So if I do that by accident, you can just, either drag it back out, or you can do undo again. So I'm going to drag it underneath. Then if I want to lock my layer so it's not moving around, I hit the lock key. So if you have any problems where why isn't my layer moving, make sure it's unlocked. If I want to turn it on and off, that's my eye. And if I want to use it as a template, I can select Template under my Layers pull down, and that's going to screen it to 50%. So, okay, so let me put it, I'm going to just turn the visibility on that off. So that's just a little bit about layers. To delete a layer, you can just click on the trash can. To save, File, Save. If you want to make sure your little arrow next to the Save As or Save is there, this is going to let you navigate to where you're going to be saving your file. So if I'm putting it, in a folder on my desktop, a quick review of formats. Adobe Illustrator, this is the native format. This is fine if you're just working within Illustrator. EPS is a format that tends to be used for print. And PDF is the format that tends to be used if you're sharing. So emailing, posting it on the web, sharing the file with someone who maybe doesn't have Illustrator. If I'm saving as a PDF, you just want to make sure that if you're going to go back and edit this at any point, you have Preserve Illustrator editing capabilities turned on. And then I can save it. So that concludes our recap demo.